All right, hi, Chapter 8, Civil Transportation Export Support, 801 General. With the structure of the Civil Emergency Planning in the NATO, the three transportation of the Planning Board and command Planning Board of Committees, Civil Emergency in the Planning Board of Committees, and the Aviation Planning Committee with the Planning Board of the Inland Surface Transportation, and Planning Board of Ocean Shipping. Develop and maintain plans for the civil transportation support of NATO. General aim of the transportation of planning board and committees work include promoting civil and military cooperation, assisting provision with the civil transportation support with the resource of NATO operations when requested, developing and maintaining the necessary civil transportation crisis management and arrange structure to support the NATO's operation, developing, conducting transportation-related activities with the partners, planning and advising consultation with the Council of the Senior Civil Emergency Planning Committee and other political bodies is required, developing a recommendation for the NATO policy and procedure arrangements to ensure that civil transportation and assets infrastructure best serve the needs of the NATO, monitoring plans, legislation, other arrangements, transportation advised with the NATO on recommendation for the optimum use of these plans for the collective resource to provide recommendations to the NATO regarding improved commercial transportation solutions, support of the alliance, and transform based on the commercial practices, maintain, train, and cater other civil experts from industry to support the NATO operation and conduct the joint training exercise in the non-military authorities and civil military planners, pursuing new emergency technology assets suitability to meet the involving the requirements of NATO, meeting recommendation thereupon, and monitoring, measuring the protection of civil transportation resource and infrastructure and terrorist attack. 802, deploying planning sequence. Civil transportation support of the NATO operations is important aspect of the transportation public planning board and committees work to do the unpredictable nature of the future operation advisable to the NATO. Civil transportation experts from the planning board and committees involved with the military operational planning and at the earliest opportunity during the deploying of the planning of the process is possible to identify the civil transportation advice that may be helpful there. Our operational planning civil experts can be assist the Allied command operations in developing an Allied disposition list and assessing the flexibility of the multiple national detailed deployment plan by developing assumptions by the civil transportation infrastructure capability, providing initial assessment of the gross requirements for the potential availability of transportation assets, and assisting selection of the point of embarkment and point of disembarkment, the mounting of the devising of the marketing condition available for the civil transportation assets, evaluating alternative ports of embarkment and debarkment, routes of MOT mode of transportation required. The assistance of rendering during the operational planning could continue during the execution phase, although they may be focused forward with the problem solving. Civil experts invited to participate in the NATO movement planning conference and devise the commercial assets relating to the deployments, operations, and provided with the technical operations and expertise. 803, planning on the board of ocean shipping. The planning of the board of open shipping, the responsible for developing, maintaining planning for the civil shipping and support with the alliance operation in accordance with the agreed procedure for the planning board of ocean shipping, the planning of the taking account of the international character of the merchant shipping, the seek the facility access shipping worldwide, and the responsibility principal focus of the planning of the acquisition sea lift of the resources necessary to fulfill the sea lift requirements, deployment of the NATO military forces through the appropriate arrangements in support of the alliance. The objective to plan the availability of the marine risk insurance to ship the supporting NATO in the crisis of war. The military liaison representative of the national military NATO military authorities also participate in the planning board of an ocean shipping activity. The military representative of the planning board of the national delegation military matters and provide a liaison with the civil counterparts for the planning of the board of ocean shipping meets and other activities. The activities are provided with the technical assistance at the planning of the Board of Ocean Shipping training events in accordance with the MC 336. To planning the board of ocean shipping, civil shipping experts in support of the NATO deployment planning execution process will advise the capability of reliability use of civil shipping, the resource strategic operational deployment movements, monitor and advise the condition of the commercial shipping market, a reaction involving crises, provide civil shipping operational advice, the facilitate assist the shipping market for the national and or NATO uses, advise the charter rates and the insurance, the other financial aspect of commercial shipping, provide the best approach for the commercial and shipping the market with upon request specifically coordinated with the charging. 804, the Civil Aviation Planning Committee. The Civil Aviation Planning Committee is the Civil Transportation Planning Committee with the capability, availability, the use of civil transportation resource, the strategic operational movement of the civil aircraft, the aeromedical evacuation, civil airfields, respective of the infrastructure, and specific Civil Aviation Planning Committee responsibilities include liaisoning civil airlines in order to monitor the changes in the industry, including leasing agreements and alliances, how they change that may impact the alliance using such resources, developing, maintaining plans for the civil aviation support of the alliance at the time of the crisis of war, as well as the peace supporting operations, humanitarian support of the crisis response operation planning, the provision of civil aviation resources to support the military lifting requirement through appropriate crisis management arrangements and planning of the availability of war risk insurance and identification of the civil air and aircraft supported by the alliance, provided with the civil support appropriate military community to the civil aviation matters, including attending deployment planning and the meetings to assist the assessment of transportation feasibility of the deployment plans, provided advice as the required. 805 Planning Board of the Inland Surface Transportation. The Planning Board of the Inland Surface Transportation vital industry for the ready available civil assets of the road transportation, inland water transportation, intermodal transportation, related infrastructure, including seaports, emergency anchorage, short sea, and feeder services will be conducted within inland waterways, vessels, and specifically the planning, boarding, and the inland surface transportation responsibilities include liaisoning with the inland surface transportation industry in order to monitor changes in how they may impact the alliances using the resources, studying restriction transportation, ammunition, explosive, the hazardous cargoes, and supporting national military authorities, updating the Adams database, and movement of the planning of the within and outside the NATO boundaries, and revising the Allied movement of publications for instruction manual using National Railroad Company's military and the movement of military equipment. Chapter 9, Movement and Transportation Information Exchange for the Deployment and Sustainment of Redeployment.